Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker currently is Disney and Lucasfilms' priority for the Star Wars franchise in order to take the franchise in a different direction by J.J. Abrams that's going to reshape the future of Star Wars in general. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the thing about Disney and Lucasfilm, we do know that they are working very hard, not just on Episode 9 and a handful of live-action TV series, but of course the new Star Wars trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones. Now, apart from that, a lot of people are so-so on the new trilogy. They're not quite sure if it's really the best fit for David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what the films will entail and exactly what it's going to look like on the big screen once it arrives at some point in time in the 2020s. Now, on top of all of this, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about the future of the franchise and where things are going. And what's really intriguing about all of this by Disney and Lucasfilm is that, of course, it's described that not only are Disney and Lucasfilm currently focused on the rise of Skywalker and a handful of TV series for Disney+, however, they are very invested with the new Star Wars trilogy, and that is their main priority after Episode 9 releases in theaters. It's explained that the upcoming first film of the trilogy, dubbed as Star Wars X, also known as Star Wars Episode 10, is that Disney and Lucasfilm are moving forward with negotiations by including Keanu Reeves as one of the main characters in the first film of the trilogy. However, it's said that not only will Kevin Feige of Marvel be making his own Star Wars film separate from the trilogy, but that Disney and Lucasfilm are in discussions of having Kevin Feige direct the first film of the new trilogy as well. With the success of Marvel and their films, having Feige on board as director of the first film of the new trilogy is now being considered. Now, additionally, it's said that George Lucas will also be involved with the early scripts of the film and will overlook both David Benioff and D.B. Weiss on creating an era of Star Wars that is already established in Star Wars Legends that will be brought to the big screen. Now, it's explained that the format that they are aiming to have is to have the three films evolve throughout the sagas and actually over the different eras of Star Wars as a whole, throughout the actual saga, giving the opportunity for new villains and heroes, as well as taking Star Wars in a different direction, starting off with Star Wars X. Now, lastly, it's explained that Star Wars X is said to be a film that will bring many Legends characters back into the Disney canon and will be used in an accurate way to please the hardcore fans. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, I know a lot of fans out there are a little mixed on how they feel about this new trilogy being developed by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss after what happened with Game of Thrones Season 8. I don't blame people out there at all, but at the same exact time, I still have faith in the new trilogy because, let's face it, we're not quite sure exactly, what it's going to look like visually speaking on the big screen and what type of characters we will actually be getting in those actual movies. So the good news is that they are going to bring back Star Wars Legends characters, known Legends characters, into the Disney canon. Now, this by far is the biggest hint of all time that this is going to be based in either the Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic, or maybe even a different era of Star Wars that we haven't actually seen before in the 1990s and the early 2000s. Now, on top of all of this, I think that the bigger news here, of course, is Kevin Feige. You guys may have heard a couple of weeks ago that Kevin Feige is now on board with Kathleen Kennedy to develop his own Star Wars movie. However, Disney and Lucasfilm are now considering him to be the director of the first film of the new trilogy by, of course, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss as writers. So this, to me, seems very interesting because we do know that Kevin is a big Star Wars fan. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Kevin is a big Star Wars fan. He loves the Star Wars films, and, as much, how much success he has had with Marvel, the fact that he is now on board with Star Wars, I think is a step in the right direction. Sure, I don't really agree with how some of the new Star Wars, or should I say with some of the new Marvel movies are going, what they have planned for Phase 4. I will say that I do disagree with a handful of the projects that they are working on, especially, some projects for Disney Plus here and there. But with Kevin Feige actually now a part of Star Wars, I'm still very optimistic about the fact that they are considering him for, of course, the first film of the new trilogy, dubbed, of course, Star Wars X, also known as Star Wars Episode 10. Now, the real exciting thing is that the negotiations are moving forward between Disney and Lucasfilm, and of course Keanu Reeves getting involved with, of course, not the Rise of Skywalker, but with everything that comes after the Rise of Skywalker. Star Wars X. And that really does speak volumes, right? Because we do know that they're trying to get A-list actors into these Star Wars movies by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. That's exactly what they want to do. And with Kevin, Feige on board, and how they're trying to get Keanu Reeves on board, really does tell us that they're trying to make this movie feel like Star Wars to a different level. And that's the plan by Disney and Lucasfilm. They're trying to take it in a different direction, as we went over a couple of months ago. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.